I got some good news, guys. We're actually starting to see more ABK games coming to Game Pass. It's been a while, man. I feel like, we're seeing a couple slip through the ropes, but we're finally seeing more and more. It feels like monthly at this point. What's going on, you guys? Gaming Guide here, coming at you with another video. Today we'll be talking about the ABK deal, Activision Blizzard King, and how we're finally starting to see the fruits of labor when it comes to this publisher. Microsoft has owned them, I would say, about 6 to 7 months now. Probably a little longer. I don't know. I don't keep track of that kind of stuff. Put in the comment section below how long they've owned them at this point. But I'm kind of curious, man. When they first announced that they finally closed this studio, I thought it was going to be similar to the Bethesda deal. I thought they were going to just start, porting mad games over to Game Pass. We was going to see like a giant set of them come over, because that is typically what we've seen when they buy these publishers. They generally go after their backlog to make Game Pass more enticing. We've seen it with Bethesda. Not only do they want their future games, obviously, because those day-to-day games coming to Game Pass is very effective, but they also want that back catalog. And for the most part, we just wasn't seeing ABK games going over there like that. But the past couple months, I actually have to say they have dramatically increased the amount of these games coming over. During the June showcase this year, I remember everyone during their prediction show for it, during the show that people talk about what they expect at that June showcase, the number one thing that they brought up was, we think they're going to drop a sizable amount of games into Game Pass. Now, obviously, we got the Diablo, which you could kind of compare to the Bethesda one, which was Doom Eternal. Now we're seeing, the Crash game go in there. Now we're seeing them, renegotiate the licensing for like the Transformer games. We're seeing Microsoft make a lot of moves in getting these games over there. And it looks like today there's actually been another relisting when it comes to, the ABK games. It's a game called Singularity. Looks like it's a first person, kind of like there's a game that just released by EA. I'm sure you guys will know what it is. It's like the Magic game that didn't do the greatest. But this game's actually been relisted, so people think it's just a matter of time before this game shows up in the Game Pass. And I would agree with them on this. Shout out to Colaboro. It was made by Raven Software. Now, I did look at the Metacritic. It did get like high 70s, so that's decent. But what I like about this, and it shows more than anything, is now we're starting to see these games come over in kind of groups now. I'm curious when we're going to see a Crash Bandicoot 4. When Bethesda was bought, it didn't take long for them to get that. And I think that is one of the biggest reasons that when we was looking into these situations, we were kind of, just scratching our heads. It didn't take this long for past publishers. Well, only really one, Bethesda. It didn't take this long. So we were just like, is it a technical side? Are there licensing issues? Which we have seen there has been some form of licensing issues. For instance, the Transformer games. I think they're also looking at like the Deadpool and some of the Marvel games that, Activision has published throughout the years. So I think there is stuff going on behind closed doors. But when it comes to like Crash, Spyro, are they holding these games just so they can show them all at the same time, or are they holding these games to sprinkle them throughout the year? Because it's good publicity. We don't necessarily have to go out and pursue Game Pass deals anymore, because when we release games in Game Pass monthly, we could just sprinkle ABK games from here to the end of eternity. They put Diablo in there, Crash. I'm assuming Spyro is going to go in there sooner or later. Most likely, this Singularity game's going to go in there. Then we're also probably going to see the Transformer games go in there. It makes sense in the grand scheme of things. I'm also curious. These games in Game Pass is amazing, but what really helped Microsoft really put out their best foot forward is that they came out there and they started backwards compatibility enhancing these games. Make the Transformers, the crashes. Make these games run better than they did previously on past gens. I mean, the Singularity game came out on the 360. So you know that game's probably rough. It's probably rough. Now, I don't know how these games were developed because I do know there are some technical limitations to the backwards compatibility enhancement program because there are certain games that the way they were programmed means that they can't do anything about it. But I'm curious what they do on this. Like, look, I've been very vocal. For the longest time, I've been very vocal that the ABK deal wasn't for me. You know, I would have preferred like a Square Enix, a Sega, something like that. And I do feel like a lot of the decisions that Xbox and Microsoft are making in terms of the brand right now is a result of this ABK deal. So I don't like the ABK deal in general, but I can't front to say it is nice that they're finally starting to give the people that they did this for, which is their consumers, which is, you know, they're trying to sell stuff. It's a business. They're trying to sell stuff. I like that they're finally doing that. They're giving you these games in Game Pass. It's important, man. You know, ABK, it's never been denied that that was a huge purchase. Call of Duty in Game Pass this year is going to be big. They just did the beta, where as long as you are in Game Pass, you get access to that beta. I think it's big, man. I think it's big. My second story I want to talk about today is the layoffs. Microsoft laid off a bunch of people. I think it was mainly from corporate and like assistant things like HR. That didn't seem like, to my knowledge, now you guys can put in the comment section below if you guys know, it didn't seem like there was a whole lot of like key components in like the studios. I didn't see no studios getting shut down. I didn't even really see anyone from studios getting laid off. Now, obviously, that could have happened. We don't have a list of that. There's not a list out there. I'm sure there's a list at Microsoft, but we don't have a list. So, look, I don't like layoffs in general, but at least it wasn't from the studios this time. At least it was, you know, trimming, I guess, what they consider fat in other departments that they haven't really hit up until now. I don't know if they've hit like the HR department, marketing. I do know that there has been some layoffs in marketing. I just don't know to what degree. But one thing I will say is, as a gamer, it's nice that what I'm seeing, it didn't necessarily hit the gaming portion of the industry as much. All it seemed to hit is, you know, corporate levels, which there's probably a lot of them that have been coasting untouched. It also hit some of like HR, marketing. Didn't hit none of the studios. And I think, you know, these developers are already, they're going overtime, man. Working probably 60, 70 hours a week trying to make sure these games come out on time. And as you could see in certain games that's been coming out the past couple of years, sometimes that's not enough. We're running these people like dogs, and I feel like they need help. And the last thing you need to do, and this isn't just an Xbox issue, everyone in the industry has been laying people off, is to cut their forces in half. You need to give everyone the opportunity to work in peaceful environments without stress 24/7. A lot of people get, oh, you know, Addict, I work a 7-day week. Look, there's always going to be times in any industry that sometimes it's all hands on deck. But what I've been told personally by developers is it's not like a set duration. Sometimes these developers are all hands on deck for a year at a time. Now, you might be able to pull that 6-7 day, get some overtime this week, that week. But I'm curious, if you start working 7 days a week and you're doing that for a year plus, and it's not seeming like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, I'm curious if there's going to be that same energy. Obviously, every industry grinds. Every industry does it. But I think it's just to the degree of the grinding. It's to the degree of, you know, everything we need is these developers. And to me, let's work them reasonable hours, and let's not fire or lay off, my bad. Let's not lay off the people that help them make these games, especially the QA department. QA department, we gotta find these bugs, man. Like, hire more QA. Tired of broken games, man. And that's for the whole industry, not just Xbox. Hire QA. But once again, I hate that people got laid off regardless what the circumstances are. No one likes to be laid off. I hope those individuals find jobs. But at least me on the gamer perspective, you know, the studios were hit so much through the past like year and a half. It's nice that they wasn't hit this time. To my knowledge, I think they laid off like 600 people or something like that. They might have laid off some people from these, you know, maybe especially HR, marketing departments that work with these companies. But hopefully not too many people in the actual studios, the people that actually making the games. Hopefully they won't hit too much. But anyway, tell me what you guys feel about in the comment section below. You know, tell me about the ABK games. Is there a particular game that you guys want in there? Very curious your guys' opinion on that. And also, people being let go, people being laid off. You know, is this still a sign of the industry still crashing, or is this a sign of it maybe restructuring or readjusting? I'm kind of curious your guys' opinion on that. If you guys enjoyed this video, definitely hit that like button. It's always appreciated. You can always sub to the channel for weekly content. We make weekly content over here. We also stream on the Addict Arena channel. You can catch me on Twitter at LordAddictILP. All that's in the description below. And until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace. Whoo! I ain't even going to play that Singularity game, whatever it's called. I just like that we're seeing more of these ABK games come over because I have commented multiple times on that.